Okay, so in the Classwork tab is where you're going to find everything for Science 10. Okay, there's a link to my YouTube channel, which is where all the recordings for this class will go. Okay, because right now I'm recording this class, and I do that every single day unless we're live streaming. Okay, hopefully we don't have to do that again. Right? But if we aren't, then I record each class, I post it to YouTube, I post a link in Google Classroom. If you're missing, that's where you go. Okay, it's like being here, except you don't have to look at my ugly mug. Okay, it just records what's on the smartboard and what I say. Okay, and it also picks up your voices as well. Okay, so if you ask questions, it can hear the question. So that's what will be in there. Okay, so that's where you can find that. We'll talk about that in a minute. Okay, the worksheet booklets are in there. We'll be using the chemistry one starting maybe even today. Okay, notes packages are also in here. Okay, if you click on notes packages, okay, you will see. Once it eventually loads, because they're actually pretty big files, but you should see 4 different files in here. They're all Google Docs, and they should all have your name on them. They are individualized to you, if they ever load. Okay, that's your notes. We don't have a textbook. Okay, there's no textbook for science. Well, there is, but it sucks, so we don't use it. Okay, so we have our own notes package. That's what you're going to use. You can have that open on your phone. All right, so you'll see instead of saying student Coderre, it'll have your name. Okay, you can edit it on your phone or laptop or tablet or whatever it is you're going to use in class. Okay, or you can go home and print them if you want. Okay, that's entirely up to you. My suggestion, if you are going to have like the pen and paper version of these, you're going to print them at home, they're in color. Don't print them that way. Okay, in total, these are over 60 pages. Okay, you will be going back and forth to wherever you buy your ink cartridges from if you choose to print them in color, and that'll get pricey. Okay, you can always look at the electronic version to see the color stuff. Okay, you can print it in black and white, and that'll be good enough if you feel like you need the pen and paper. And some people do, that's fine. Okay, if you don't feel like you need pen and paper, then you can edit these in Google Docs each day when we're taking notes, and you will be doing that. Okay, you need to make additions and stuff like that to the notes package as we go along, because there'll be lots of times we'll say, hey guys, this isn't in the notes package, but you should add this, or guys, make a note of this. This is something to be on the test, and you need to be able to highlight it or underline it or whatever. Okay, that's going to be on you guys. Okay, but it is your version of it, so you can edit it all you want. All right, that sort of makes sense. Okay, and the worksheet booklets. Okay, similar deal with the worksheet booklets. Okay, there's one for chemistry, there's one for physics, and there's one for global systems. There isn't a worksheet for biology. Okay, so you won't need that, but okay, those are in there as well. Okay, and like I say, we'll be working out of those very soon. And then down here in class materials, okay, are some of the other things that you're going to need. I do have periodic tables printed for you, so I will give you paper versions of the periodic table, but should you lose yours, you have to print a new one from here. Okay, there's a file called Lab Report Expectations. That's there. We're going to go over that later next week, maybe, if we get to it. Okay, and there's a metric system thing there. Okay, don't bother printing that out. And then this is what we're going to be going through today, the Science 10 Day 1 package. So if you can click on that one and open it up, that's what we're going to be going through here to start things off. All right, so all the stuff you need will be posted in there, okay, on a daily basis, right? And then you'll obviously be able to find all of that in the stream, okay, each and every day. All right. Questions so far, guys? If you don't have a phone, then I would suggest you print stuff for today. Just follow along here. Okay? All right. So how things are going to work in this classroom. Okay, first off, with attendance, obviously during COVID, attendance is very different. Okay, it's best if you're here, but obviously if you're supposed to stay home because the government says you're supposed to, stay home. Okay, because it's actually the law and you can come, you can't come. Okay, if that happens, that's fine. Okay, if it's the whole class or half the class, like it was some of the times their first semester, then I will live stream. Okay, if it's 1 or 2 people, I probably won't live stream. Okay, if it's 1 or 2 people, then I'll just be putting the YouTube stuff on there, and you can watch it at your convenience, okay, at home, and email me questions if you have them. If it's half the class or a significant amount of the class, then I'll live stream for those people that are stuck at home. Okay. So if you are not here, for whatever reason, hopefully it's not because we have to self-isolate or go home and do all that online crap that we had to do the first semester, okay? If you're just homesick or whatever, okay, you are responsible for what you miss. Google Classroom makes it super easy for you to stay caught up because every day I'll post the class recording, okay, and say what we did, all right? And you can follow along. That means you got to work out of the workbook, I'll tell you. Okay, this page out of the workbook or that page out of the workbook, you'll know exactly what you have to do. Okay, I expect you to come back caught up if you're absent. Okay, also if we happen to do a lab on the day you're gone, okay, or I give out an assignment the day you're gone, you're still responsible for that. Okay, I will record the instructions. If it's a lab, I have observation videos of all the labs that I post along with them. Okay, so just because you weren't here to do the lab doesn't mean you can't watch the observations video. In fact, people who are often here to do labs will watch the observations video anyway, just to make sure they got the right data. Okay, you can still do that lab from home, no problem using that. And of course, you can always ask me questions if you need to. All right, so just understand that you're responsible for that stuff. Okay, lates. Okay, this class, period 1, starts at 8:35. On time is 8:34 and 30 seconds. Okay, be here before the bell. If you arrive after the bell, you will find the door in that position, closed. Stay on the other side of it until I come get you. Okay? If you're late, I don't want you to interrupt whatever is going on in here. I'll come get you when it's convenient for me. Okay? Don't hide though, because if you're hiding and I can't see you, I don't know you're out there. I just think you're absent. Okay? So make sure that I can see you. You don't need to make faces or wave or anything. Just make sure I can see you and I'll come get you. Okay, when it's convenient and less of an interruption for the class. Okay? All right, questions on the attendance part? Okay. All right, so the resources that are available to you, okay? Obviously you got Google Classroom. You guys are fully versed in how to use that, very familiar with it. Okay, I use that for everything. Okay, there is not a thing you are gonna submit to me on paper. Okay, all of it is gonna be submitted through Google Classroom. Okay, so all of it is electronic. Every time we have a lab, you get a version of it that has your name on it already, a template ready for you to fill in. Okay, if there's an assignment, I built the templates for that. If it's like a research project or something like that, okay, the template is built, you fill it in. Okay, all that stuff. It's all submitted through Google Classroom. Okay, because I make the templates for everything, that is the file that you submit. Okay, you do not submit your own file. Okay, you submit the one that I give you. If you don't, then I can't track how you did it. Okay? If you submit my file, then I can see a revision history. I can see all the stuff that went on. I know whether the whole file appeared magically in 1 second, i.e. you copied it from somebody, okay? Or whether you actually worked on it over the period of time you were supposed to. Okay? So it's got to be on my files. Okay, so all the due dates obviously are in there, okay, the recordings and all of that stuff, everything you could possibly need will be in there, okay, including things like quizzes and stuff like that, guys. When we get to quizzes here, okay, you're gonna have a quiz every Tuesday and every Thursday unless you're told otherwise. They're very short, okay? And Monday night and Wednesday night after school, I post a practice quiz, which is basically the same as the quiz you'll do the next day. Okay, so all you have to do is sit down for 5 or 10 minutes, do that quiz, and you'll be ready for the quiz the next day. Okay, make it pretty easy for you. Okay, so I'll give you those practice ones, and then the next day you'll come in and write a quiz that is very similar to that one. Right? So those will also be posted on Google Classroom, like 3:20. Okay, in the afternoon, I'll post them, and then you can go home and check them out that night. Okay. All right. Now, in terms of the YouTube channel, I do post the link directly in Google Classroom each and every day, but if you want to see what the channel looks like, okay, when you go to it, okay, I mean, it's nothing special, it's just, okay, it's just this, and there's Science 10 lessons, okay, that's your guys' stuff. Right now, all the lessons from last semester are still in there, so I'll be taking all of those out, and then I'll be filling these playlists as we go along, okay, throughout the semester. So if you're ever needing to look in there, okay, that's where everything will be, and then you can use that to review for unit exams, final exams, etc. Okay, but that's where all of it will be. You probably won't need anything else. Okay, the other playlists are things like your lab observations. Okay, so there's lab observations videos. Actually, for you guys, it's this. No. It's in there somewhere. There it is. Okay, so there's observations, videos for all the labs, all that stuff will be posted in Google Classroom, so you'll very rarely actually ever need to come directly to my YouTube channel for anything. Okay, you'll be directed here from Google Classroom. Okay, so there's no need for you to subscribe or anything like that because, well, I don't have 1,000 subscribers, so I'm not making a cent off of this YouTube channel at all. All right. Okay, so as I was saying before, okay, each day I'll post the day's activities, a link to the day's podcast or class recording, okay, developments and notes on Google Classroom, okay, obviously we already have the join code, okay, and I'm going to post the quizzes, okay, every Monday and every Wednesday. Okay, so by using the above resources, if you miss, you should return to class caught up with your classmates. Okay, now obviously if you come back and you have questions, that's fine. Okay, if you come back to me after being gone for a couple of days and say, sorry, Mr. Codere, I wasn't feeling good or whatever, but I'm back now. I watched the podcast. I tried the stuff out of the workbook. There's a couple questions I don't get. Can you help me with them? Absolutely, yes. Okay. If you come back after being gone for 2 or 3 days and you go, Mr. Codere, what did I miss? My answer will be a lot. And that'll be it, because then you haven't done your job. Okay. You come back to me and say, I know how to do this, I watched this, but I need help with this, then you did your job, I'll do mine. Okay? But if you're gone and you do nothing to get caught up, you have to get caught up before I help. Okay? That's just the way it's going to happen. All right. Questions on that part? Okay. So classroom behavior stuff, okay, the big thing is respect. Okay? I will treat you with respect at all times. Okay? If you ever think I have been disrespectful, please call me on it. Okay, but I'm not going to call somebody out and belittle them in front of the rest of the class. I would definitely never do that. Okay, but I also expect that you treat each other respectfully as well. Okay, pretty tough on that here. Okay, if I say listen up, that means I need your full and undivided attention. So I'll be at the front here. Okay, guys, listen up. We're going to get started on this. Okay, boom, eyes forward, okay, earbuds out, all that kind of stuff. Okay, we're getting started on something. Okay. When work is assigned in class, it is to be completed. There's 2 kinds of work in this class. There's the kind of coached practice stuff that won't be taken in for marks. Okay, so that's stuff from the workbooks, right? The practice questions, things like that. That's just designed to help you hone your skills, learn new skills, practice things, okay, stuff like that. That's the stuff we'll do in class. You sometimes might need to do it a bit as homework if you don't finish it, but I'm not checking it. I'm not taking it in for marks, marking it, anything. Okay, that's just the kind of work that needs to be done to make sure you understand and can do all the stuff in this class. Okay, the other kind of work is the kind that is coming in for marks. That'll be lab reports, assignments, research projects, in-class assignments, stuff like that. Okay, those things, they need to be submitted through Google Classroom. They will be marked. Okay, I am never going to give you make work. Okay, I'm never going to say, hey, do 100 questions on this so that I can surf the net while you're working. Okay, not going to happen. Okay, that's not what I do here. Okay, if I assign you work, it's because I expect you to work on it and ask questions if you need. Okay. All right, all of it does need to be completed. Okay, you are responsible for your own academic success. If I find you are not completing your work, then you're going to spend your lunch hours in here until I have it all. Okay, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Okay, the worst thing I have to do is email or call home and say little Johnny or little Janie's not getting their work done. They're sitting at a 25 in my class because they haven't handed anything in a month. Okay, and mom and dad don't want to hear that. Okay, they don't generally get upset with me for that. But it would have, I would think, far-reaching and severe consequences for you, like the Xbox disappears and the car keys are gone, and you're looking at 4 gray walls and bread and water until you're caught up. Okay, I don't want that for you. Okay, if you do your work, you won't have any trouble. And guys, I don't assign an incredible amount of work in this class. Okay, you might have 1 thing per week that you have to hand in. Okay, maybe, and there's probably not going to be anything due in this class for a while. Okay, we got to learn some stuff before we can do anything that needs marking. All right. Also, should you by some act of God achieve a mark of less than 50% on a unit exam, okay, then I will have a kind of makeup assignment that I will expect you to do over lunch hours with me, okay, just so that you and I can make sure that you understand the material you missed. Very rarely does that ever happen, okay? But if it does, that's the way we deal with it. There are no rewrites in Science 10, okay? So don't think you can gamble, not study, write a unit exam, and go, oh, shit, I didn't do well, can I write it again? No, okay? No, you can't. You already wrote it. You saw what was on the test. It's hardly fair for me to let you write it again, okay? So make sure you're ready the first time, okay? And I will give you 2 weeks notice of any unit exams upcoming. So you have lots of time to study, lots of time to come in and see me and get help, okay? All right. Okay, fairness versus equality, okay? I will always try to be fair to everybody, okay? But that usually means that I don't treat everybody equally, okay? Everybody's situation is different, and I try to deal with everything on a case-by-case basis, okay? So sometimes somebody might get something that somebody else doesn't get, okay? And again, I do that on a case-by-case basis. If you ever feel I have been unfair, feel free to come in and see me after class and call me on it, okay? And I can discuss it with you. All right. Probably the best example I have of this would have been, it used to be like 12 years ago now, back when we still handed things in on paper. Okay, my class came up to hand in their lab on whatever it was on, and everybody handed it in except the last 2 people in line. Okay, first guy, he looked at me and goes, Mr. Codere, look, you got to be honest with you. I was binge watching whatever, and yeah, I just kind of got into it and I didn't do my lab. I'm like, geez, man, you had like a week and a half to get that done. Why did you leave it till the last night? I don't know. I just didn't do it. I'm like, all right. I mean, at least he was honest with me. And he could have concocted some crazy story, but he didn't. He was honest with me, and I said, okay, fine. I mean, you're going to take the late penalty, but I'll still accept it. Okay, just get it done as soon as you can. Okay. The girl behind him looked like she would have to get better to die. She looked that sick. Okay, like literally green, okay, and like swaying, like not able to like stand correctly, okay? And I'm like, are you okay? She's like, no. Last night my parents had this huge fight, and they stormed out of the house, and I had to make supper for my brothers and sisters, and I took chicken out of the freezer, and I didn't cook it enough. And we all got sick, and we spent the whole night throwing up, and I don't have my lab done. Okay? So, because I'm just a little bit of an ass, I did have to point out that, you know, if she hadn't left it till the night before, that wouldn't happen. Okay? Lesson to be here. Calamity knows when you are unprepared, and it will strike then. Okay? Don't leave something till the night before. Okay? But that was, I think, situation beyond her control. I let her have a 1-day extension. She got it done the next day. No late penalty. Okay? I thought I was being fair, case by case basis. All right? So, just know that I'll try and treat everybody as fairly as possible. Okay, and accountability. Okay, high school is the start of real life, so due dates and timelines are part of your reality. So you are expected and required to hand in material on time and be responsible for your actions. I give plenty of time for assignments to be completed. The shortest turnaround you will have for anything to be handed in is 2 school days, right? And that would probably be something small that we had an entire class period to work on, all right? Most of the time, those 2 class period, or those 2 days, school days, you know, I assign something on a Thursday, well, Friday, and then Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday would be 2. So it's like 2 school days, but it ends up being like 5 days for you to actually get it done, okay? Very rarely do I ever ask for anything 2 days later, and I will never ask for something the next day, okay? That's not fair to you guys. You're supposed to be learning how to manage your time and plan your lives. And if I go, hey, there's a 6-hour assignment for you to do tonight, that's not fair, okay? I wouldn't do that, all right? So you're always gonna get plenty of time to get things done. You might need to come in and ask me for help. I've got to give you time for that, okay? So you're gonna get lots of time, okay? Just make sure you have it done on time for me, okay? All right. All right, so your marks here. First off, I will not discuss your marks with you in front of everyone else, okay? So if you get something back and you don't like the mark, come and see me after class to talk to me about it, okay? Now, when you get stuff back, I go through it in its entirety, okay? So if it's a lab report, okay, you get it back, I go through the entire lab report, every single part. So you can follow along, and it'll be pretty clear where you lost your marks and got your marks. Okay? But if you still have questions after that, then come and see me after class and we can talk about it. Okay? On the note of getting your stuff back, you will always get your stuff back the next day, if not the same day. Okay? I plan stuff around when I can get it marked, so most of the time you will get stuff back the same day, for sure always the next day. In 22 years of teaching, I have failed to do that once. Okay? It was the day that my second son was born. I stand by my decision to hold my wife's hand while she squeezed out a kid, okay, as opposed to marking labs. That probably would have not ended well for me. Okay, so I stand by that decision to not mark labs in the birthing room. Okay, guys, that's the right decision, by the way. Okay, all right. So you will get it back the next day, which means that I'm not too tolerant about late assignments. Okay, I want them in on time because I'm going to be going through them and basically giving out the answers the next day. Okay, so at that point, your assignment, if it isn't handed in, isn't worth full marks anymore. Okay, because I don't know now whether it was stuff you knew or whether you just listened to class and wrote it all down. Okay, hardly fair for you to get 100% for waiting an extra day while everybody else slaved to get it done. Okay, so labs and assignments are to be handed in on time. On time means the start of class on the due date. Not the end of the day, not midnight. I know every teacher is different on this, but for me, it's the start of class on the due date. So for you guys, for this class, it can be 8:35 every time there's something new. Okay? All right. If they are handed in late, they're docked 30%. Now, here's what late means. It's not at 8:35. It's 8:37, it's late. Okay? I'm that guy. Okay? I want it handed in on time. And I'll remind you at the start of class, just in case you forgot to hit the submit button or something like that. Okay? Hey, someone's, they've got still a few that are missing. Can you guys just double check? Okay? Stuff like that. I'll always give you that opportunity. Okay? But if I'm getting it in, halfway through class, that don't impress me much. Okay? And here's why. You missed everything I taught for the last 30 minutes because you were working on something you should have had done already. Okay? So don't bother. It's already late. Just do it that night. Okay? Everybody clear on that? Okay. All right. So your course syllabus here. Okay? There's 4 units in Science 10. First unit is energy and matter and chemical change, chemistry. Okay? Start of that is going to be very familiar to you. It's stuff you learned in Science 9, naming compounds, okay, stuff like that, easy stuff. Okay, and then we'll move into chemical changes, physical changes. We'll move into writing and balancing chemical reactions and law of conservation of mass and the mole equation. Okay, so a little bit of math at the end of that unit. Okay, in regards to math, you will need a scientific calculator for this class. Okay, you don't need the graphing calculator. You don't need like the TI 8357, whatever we're on now. Okay, you don't need that one for science. You might need it for math. Okay, but if you don't want to shell out the money for that, you can go and get a cheapo scientific calculator for $5 or $6, and it'll do the job for this class. Okay, you will not be able to use your phone as a calculator. Okay, your phone can be a scientific calculator, but on a test, you can't have your phone, so you need to have a calculator. Okay. All right, so that unit will take us to about the middle of March, to late March, because we have a week off here in February. So, okay, somewhere in there. All right. Unit 2 is biology, so cycling of matter in living systems. So we go over the microscope, we go over the cell theory, parts of the cell and what they do, active and passive transport within cells and within multicellular organisms. We talk about cell size, shape, and surface area. Okay, we talk about cell specialization and multicellularity. Our multicellular organisms we look at in Science 10 are plants. Okay, we don't do any dissections or anything like that. So if you're worried about that, you can stop worrying about that. You don't have to cut anything open in Science 10. Okay, and then mechanisms of transport for gas exchange and things like that for plants. Okay, that tends to be one of the shorter units. Probably take us about 3 weeks. So expect to be done at Easter-ish, okay, somewhere in there. Okay. And then we've got energy flow and technological systems. That one's physics. That's a fairly math-intensive unit. Okay, there's a fair amount of algebra in there. Okay, but don't worry, you'll get it. It'll be fine. Okay, math's not as hard as everybody makes it out to be. Okay, there's just a stigma about it, but I'll show you all the little tricks and tips you need, okay, to get through it, because physics is my shtick. Okay, that's what I teach. All right, so we'll look at types of energy, technological innovations, one-dimensional motion, so that would be things that are like simply moving forward or backward. There would be no trigonometry, okay, no angled motion or anything like that. Okay, design and function of systems that use potential and kinetic energy. There's lots of stuff about energy, work and energy, okay, and stuff like that in this unit. All right, that one will take us 4 to 5 weeks. We'll be finished that one end of May, May long, somewhere in there. Okay, maybe even like beginning of June, depending on kind of how the calendar falls. And then our last unit is our shortest one, and it's energy flow and global systems. It's kind of a hodgepodge of everything. Okay, it's very short. Last semester I taught it in 7 days. I've taught it in as few as 5. Okay, it's pretty short. Right? There's really nothing that continues on from that unit. Okay, and that'll take us to the end of the semester, and then you'll have your exams. Okay, all right. Your marks distribution for Science 10 will go as follows, unless something else happens this semester like it did last semester, and we had to change everything at the last minute. Okay, but barring any unforeseen disaster, okay, your unit exams, okay, 4 of them, are 40%. So each one of your unit exams is worth 10% of your final mark. Okay? Your labs, projects, and assignments, okay, so everything you're going to hand into me as coursework, okay, is 30% of your final mark. Your quizzes, which happen every Tuesday and every Thursday, are 10% of your final mark. Okay? Now, think about what that means for what each quiz individually is worth. You're having 2 a week over the course of a semester. Okay? You're going to have like 35 tests, 40 quizzes, sorry, 35 or 40 quizzes that are worth 10% of your mark. How much is each quiz worth? Okay. Very little. Okay? So one bad quiz, not the end of the world. 35 bad quizzes, that's a little more serious. Okay, but if you have one where you don't do all that well, remember, by the end of the semester, it's going to be worth like 1/4% of your final grade, or less. Okay, so it's not the end of the world. Okay, should you prepare for them? Should you do those practice quizzes I put out on Google Classroom Mondays and Wednesdays? Definitely. It's 10% of your mark. Okay, it adds up. All right, and then your final exam in June, 20% of your final grade. Okay. All right, questions on any of that? All right, I'm going to give you about a 5-minute break here because I've been talking nonstop. Okay, and then we're going to get into Unit 1. So during that little 5-minute break, if you can get the notes package for chemistry open on your phone, okay, we'll be starting Unit 1. Okay, so we'll be back here in 5. If you need to use the bathroom or anything like, oh, sorry, I forgot all about this stuff. Okay, bathrooms. Right out this door, okay? So right out this door to the left is the girls' bathroom, okay? And just a little further down the hall is the boys' bathroom, okay? Please make sure that if you're in this wing, you're using those bathrooms, not wandering around the school looking for others, okay? Those are the ones for this wing, okay? When you leave this class, okay, we're allowed to shortcut when you leave this class. So you don't have to wait for the entire science wing to empty, okay? You can just go to the left, okay? Right away, okay? You have to go right away, but you can go to the left, okay, and get into the traffic circle there, okay, in the middle of the school. All right, after class, you don't have to go that way. Right? Everybody got me there? So it saves you a trip outside, okay, from this one. When you come into class, okay, hand sanitizers on the wall and on that desk, okay, and obviously the paper towels are right there as well. Okay, when you leave class, I will spray down your desk with this new stuff. Some sort of alcohol-based sanitizer that you wipe on your desk, and then it evaporates. Let it evaporate. It's not the fun kind of alcohol. It's the making of blind kind. Okay, you don't want that. All right. And let's see, other stuff. Oh, can I have food and drink in here? Yes, you can. Okay, that's just fine. If you spill and make a mess, you clean it up, please. Okay. Can I have my phone out? Well, I think we covered that already. You kind of need it, okay? I look at your phone as a tool, okay? Use the tool, okay? Use it as a tool, not a toy, okay? I know it can be both, okay? But in this class, make sure it's being used as a tool, okay? And okay, now listen to music in here. Yes, when that's appropriate. Okay, so if you're doing some seat work, working on some problem solving or something like that, where it's just individual work, by all means, you can listen to your headphones. Okay, but if I'm teaching actively, then I want the earbuds out and your full and undivided attention. Okay, if you need to use the washroom or anything during class, that's fine. Just put a hand in, let me know, and off you go. Okay, the green line on the floor. Okay, as long as I'm on this side and you're on that side, you don't have to wear your mask unless you want to. Okay, and of course you're perfectly welcome to wear your mask at all times if you're more comfortable with that. Okay, for me, talking through it all the time is really hated. So, okay, I'm going to stay on this side of the tape when I'm teaching. Okay, if you come across the tape or I go across the tape, then the masks go up for everybody. Okay, just so we're aware of that. Okay, that's what has to happen for all the COVID protocols and such. Okay, if you turn to talk to somebody, obviously the mask has to come back up again. Okay. All right, questions from you guys? Anything I didn't cover? Okay, well, if you think of something, you can always ask. All right, now I'll give you that 5 minutes. Now.